Welcome to the Crochet Crowd. I'm your host Mikey, teaching a pattern today called Mommy and Me Messy Bun Hats. And in the photography here we have Sarah and Zoe. And that's many years ago. You can tell Zoe's a lot younger there. And this is using Bernat Super Value yarn with a 5mm size H crochet hook. There's a gauge that's been provided to you, and the gauge here is 13 single crochets and 14 rows. If you're making a wearable, just check your gauge. We have videos here on our channel on how to do a gauge check. So we're going to begin working through this. We work on the top going down, and we're going to start right at the top. The colors you're going to see changing. We're just going to carry them loosely on the inside of the hat so you don't have to fasten off your yarn each time you're changing a color, which makes it really nice and easy. So this is a 2-pattern repeat. We have it available in the small size, which is 4 to 6. And then adult size. I'll teach the adult today, and I'll give you more information when it comes to the different stuff with that. So we're going to begin, and let's start now. For demonstration purposes today, I am using Caron Simply Me Luster in the colors that you see here called Ruby and Claret, and it's a really nice yarn to be able to play with, and it does use that sized yarn, but always do a gauge check to make sure. So if the gauge is too small, then just increase your hook, and if the gauge is too big, then decrease. Let's start officially now. So let's begin by creating a slip knot. And insert your hook in. You're going to chain a total of 20. Let's begin. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Once you have your 20 on there, I want you to insert this without twisting the chain. Just put this onto the beginning. Okay, and then just pull that through. Okay, and there is your first 20. There's the center ring. Your ponytail will come out of that hole at the top. Let's begin round number 1. Let's begin round number 1. Simply just chain up 1, and I need you to put in 24 single crochets right into the ring. See this straggler? Just put it over top of the ring and catch it underneath the stitch work. So just put in 24 single crochets right around this ring. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and just go all the way to 24 and meet me back here in just a moment. I now have my 24 in here, but you can see that it didn't cover all the chain. But because this is just going around that, I just want to take this, just squeeze it and just kind of pull. And this will equally space itself out in the next stitch. So just keep pulling it around so that this gets closer to the end. And when you go to slip stitch to the top, make sure that it's laying flat so the top of the stitches are facing outward. Okay, follow it around, and you're going to slip stitch then to the beginning single crochet. Okay, so there's a little bit of space that's happening right here. This will stretch out and fill in those spaces. So you do want that because you got to get a ponytail through there. And we're moving on to round number 2 next. Let's begin round number 2. We're going to start with chaining of 2. It states in the pattern that the beginning chain of chain 2 does not count as a stitch. And what we want to do is that we want to create a cluster V stitch in the same stitch that this is coming out of. So how you do that is that you're going to yarn over, going into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, okay, and then yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, you're going to hold. You're going to do that again. So you're going to yarn over, same stitch, yarn over, pull through just 2 loops, and now you have 3 loops on the hook. So this is one portion of this cluster. So you're going to yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, but you're not done with this stitch yet. You were going to chain 1 and redo exactly the same thing in that same stitch. So yarn over and in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and do it one more time. So yarn over into the same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and now you're back to the 3 loops again. So yarn over, pull through all 3. This here is a cluster V-stitch. Okay, so now you're going to skip the next stitch here, and you're going to do exactly the same thing here. The only thing you're not doing is that chain 2 because that was the start of a round. So to start the next one, so skip 1, yarn over, go into the second over stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and hold it. Yarn over, and into the same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. See the 3 loops? You've done that portion of it, so yarn over, pull through 2, or all 3 loops, sorry. Chain 1, and do that again in that same stitch. So yarn over, and in, pull through 2, and hold. One more time, so yarn over, and in, pull through 2, and hold. See the 3 loops? Yarn over, pull through all 3, and now that cluster V stitch is done. So it's the shape of a V with a chain 1 space. So to restart again, skip the next stitch and do the cluster V stitch just like this again, and then skip the next one, cluster V stitch, and you will have a total of 12 of these V stitch clusters by the time you get around. And that's what I'm hoping you're going to do, and I'll see you on round number 3 in a moment. So I'm on my 12th one. I can count 12 of these clusters going all the way around, and I'm just going to slip stitch to the top of the first cluster. So ignore that chain 2, just go right to the top of the first cluster. Okay, not in between the 2, it's the first half of the cluster is where you're going to join. Okay, and see how there's a little bit of a gap space, you can still move stuff around. And when you're wearing it, it's going to naturally stretch anyway. So we're going to move on to your 3rd round next. In the 3rd round, we're going to now change to the other color. Remember what I said at the intro, we're not going to fasten off any yarn, but what we need to do is to get ourselves to the chain 1 space that is in between a cluster. Okay, so here's the cluster. It's a chain 1 space that separates the 2 sides of the cluster. So we're just going to slip stitch over. Okay, and what you're going to do is just let this yarn fall. And because it's the first time, just create a slip knot and put that onto the hook and pull through and through. And so that yarn is now ready to play. So now let's just let this hold and grab your new yarn, and we're ready to go for round number 3. Round number 3, nice and easy. Chain 2 does not count as a stitch. And in that same chain 1 space, you're going to apply another cluster, so a V-stitch cluster. So it's the same thing that you already know. So wrap and in, pull through. So you're going right into the chain 1 space, pull through 2 and hold it. And then you're going to do that again. So wrap and into the same space, pull through 2 and hold it. See the 3 loops? Pull through all 3. And now do the other half of the cluster. So chain 1 first, then do the other half. So in, pull through 2 and hold, wrap and in, pull through 2 and hold. And now what we're going to do is just pull through all 3 loops. So you're going to move all the way around. So you're looking for the chain 1 space that separates the legs of the V-stitch. Okay, so you're going right in here. So this is a V-stitch here. This is another V-stitch. You're going right in between on the chain 1 space. So just wrap and in, pull through 2 and hold, wrap and in, pull through 2 and hold, wrap, pull through all 3, chain 1, and use that same space to do it again. So wrap and in, pull through 2 and hold, and wrap and in, pull through 2 and hold. Pull through all 3, and then jump to your next chain 1 space in the next V-stitch cluster right there. So I need you to do this all the way around for round number 3. I'm at the end of round number 3, got my last cluster in, and I'm going to slip stitch to the top of the first leg technically it's called 3 together double crochet, or 2 together double crochet, and you're just going to pull through. And we need to get ready then to change our color. So we're going to slip stitch to the next chain 1 space, let this fall in behind, and then grab the other color that you were playing with and pull up. Make sure that there's not a lot of tension to it because it can pull on it, so that it's still flexible, and you're ready then for round number 4. So round number 4 with the new color, you're going to chain 2, and we need to increase the round. It's a little complicated, but we'll try to get through it. And we're going to do a V-stitch then into the middle here. Okay, so this is a V-stitch below, it's in the chain 1 space, so apply another V-stitch cluster. Okay, just like that. So here's our repeat pattern going around. The next one, because we have to increase the size of our hat, we're going to go in between 2 clusters, this space. And so we're going to apply another V-stitch cluster in between the 2 clusters that are below. So just go into a space. It's not a chain 1 space, it's just between the stitches. So it's a V-stitch cluster into that space. And so now the next 2 clusters that you see, they're each going to be 1 cluster in each of those. Okay, so let's go into our next one. So it's a chain 1 space. So put the cluster inside the cluster, if that makes sense. Okay, now we have this one right here. So cluster inside the cluster. Okay, now we have to increase again. So to increase, we're going to go into a space before the next cluster. So it's after this cluster, but before this one, it's right here, and apply a cluster into there. Chain 1. Okay, and so then the next 2 are in the clusters itself, so 1 and 2. Okay, right there. Okay, so then you have to continue to do the increase again. So it's going to be in the space before the next cluster, and then the 2 next clusters are right in the cluster itself. Please do this around for round number 4. All the way around. The repeat on the very ending, it doesn't state this in the pattern, but this is probably why the crocheters messaged me. So I've just now done the space in between and then the 2 clusters. So I'm now going to do the space in between again. Okay, so I got that one. And if you follow this pattern as it's stating, it's telling you to put an extra V-stitch in, but you don't want to do that. So it's a space in between, and you're going to fill in the last cluster with a cluster. Mistakes happen. I think that's just an easy one to fix right now. So there should be a total of 18 of these clusters. So after that last one is done, and this is making sense because you have a cluster and a cluster, cluster and a cluster, then a space. So it's then cluster, cluster, space, cluster, cluster, space. Once you have that done, just slip stitch to the top of the first leg of the cluster, and then go into your chain 1 space and grab the other color, let that other one fall and pull through, and now you're ready for round number 5. Okay, round number 5, you're going to chain 2, and it's simple. It's a cluster within a cluster. So each of the clusters has its own cluster. Okay, so you don't got to worry about spaces in between clusters. And you're going to do that all the way around. Okay, so a cluster within a cluster, so look for the next cluster and put it into the chain 1 space, and so on. So you'll still end up with 18 cluster stitches all the way around because we're not increasing, and this will be round number 5. I'll see you at the end of round number 5 in a moment. Finishing up number 5 here, last cluster within a cluster. And now the pattern is going to go in 2 different directions at this point. So just slip stitch to the top of the first leg of the cluster stitch. And you can get ready and move your hook over, grab the other color. And we're going to discuss round number 6 because it is different from the child size to the adult, and today we're making the adult's version. So let's, here on page number 2, you're going to skip all of the child size instructions right here. So you're going to start right here and going to number 6 and then completing the rest. If you were doing the child size, you would be following this set of instruction here and right to the very end. So we're going to continue now and make our way through this. Let's begin round number 6, adult size. Right where you're sitting, you're going to chain 2 and apply a cluster within the cluster. We are going to do a small increase on this round as well. I'll tell you what that is in a moment. Okay, so we have that going on, and so we're going to do that a total of 3 times. So we have this once. You're going to go a cluster into the next cluster. This will be number 2. And 3rd time, so cluster within a cluster. Okay, so the repeat pattern then from this point is that you're going to go into a space before the next cluster. This is your increase right here. So go into the space before the next cluster and put a cluster in there. Oops. Made a mistake there. Okay, and so then the repeat pattern then continuing around then is that you are going to then put the next 3 clusters in the clusters exist and then 1 into the space. And I need you to do that all the way around for round number 6. I'm finishing up round number 6. Don't forget you have to use that space before the join. Okay, so that's keeping in line. So you got the space, the 3 clusters within a cluster. So in keeping with the repeat pattern, the last cluster is in the space before the starting cluster that we began with. Okay, so you're going to slip stitch then to the top of the first leg of the V-stitch. You're going to go to the chain 1 space, drop that yarn, and pick up, and rows number 7 and 8, we're no longer going to be increasing our hat as far as like adding stitch work, and we're going to let this thing balance out and begin round number 7. Round 7 and 8 is just a matter of allowing us to let this hat just grow its potential. There's only difference between 7 and 8 is the color. So it looks confusing on the pattern, but it's not. So you're going to chain 2, and it's a cluster within a cluster. Okay, so every stitch around is a cluster within a cluster. Don't worry about any added spaces. You're not increasing anymore. You're done with that. Okay, and you're gonna go to your next cluster and so on. So the added clusters that we did in round number 6, it's just gonna space it out even more to be better, and we're gonna do that. So please do this for round number 7. So a cluster within a cluster all the way around. At the end of number 7, just join it to the top of the first leg, and then move to your chain 1 space, drop it, and grab the other color, and move on to round number 8. Same thing. Nice and simple. Sorry, my hands don't work as well as they used to. Okay. And so round number 8, let's begin. So round number 8, you're just going to chain 2, and so it's a cluster within a cluster. This time it's using this color instead. So complete this for round number 8, and we'll talk about a quick repeat, and then we'll move on in the pattern. Finishing up round number 8, slip stitching it to the top of the first leg of a V-stitch, go into the middle. So what I need you to do for rounds number 10 and So what I need you to do for rounds number 9 and 10 is to repeat 7 and 8. So just do this color and then this color, and it's just one cluster in each cluster. And I will pick you up on the 11th round as we're going to progress to the brim at that point. So please repeat 7 and 8 one more time, and I'll be right back in a moment. I'm just finishing the 10th round now, and we're going to be moving on. So the other secondary color that we've been playing with, color B, which is shown here, we're just going to just trim this a little bit longer. We're going to use a tapestry needle at the end to weave that in. Okay, you got to secure it in order. So just stick it on the inside of the hat for now, and we're moving on to round number 11 next. Round number 11, we're going to just begin, and we are going to do a single crochet into the space between the clusters for this round. So chain up 1 and single crochet between the cluster. Now in the clusters itself, in the chain 1 space, apply 2 single crochets in there. And now come to the space between the 2 clusters and 1 there. So here's a cluster, place 2 single crochets into the chain 1, and then 1 into the space before the next cluster. And you need to do that around for round number 11. So I've got my 2 in here in the last cluster. We've already got 1 in the space before the beginning. So you're just going to slip stitch then there. So rounds number 12 all the way through 16, it's 5 rounds, is just single crochet. And we'll begin that next. So I don't need to show you every round because it's just single crochet. So you're just going to chain up 1 and apply 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. And you're going to do rounds number 12 all the way through 16. It's a total of 5 rounds. And when you get to the end of the round, you are just going to slip stitch to the beginning, single crochet, chain 1, and then restart again. And this will do a nice final conclusion for your hat. I'll see you at the end, and I'll be right back in a moment. I'm at the end of the 16th round, and I don't want to join it together with a slip stitch with the very beginning. I'm going to show you what is called as an invisible join. If you end up with a lump on the outside of your hat, it's because of the slip stitch. So what we want to do is we want to pull the yarn up through, and we want to use a tapestry needle to force that to join. And what we're going to do is emulate or simulate a stitch. I don't know what the right term for that is. So what we're going to do with this on a tapestry needle, we're going to come to the first stitch. We're going to come from the back of the work through. And you see where this is coming out of here? We want to take this and take it to the back. So right down through the center of that, where that's coming out of. And we're going to pull. And we want to pull so it looks like the distance of an existing stitch, so it looks like it belongs there. Turn it to the inside of the hat and just come into the project, but don't go so deep that it's going all the way through. And you're just going to go in and tie this into a little knot right there. So that won't come out. And now you're going to go down through the brim to stay on this side of the project. So if you turn it and you see that needle going through, it means that you're too deep. So you're going to go through once. Slightly different path back up. Slightly different path back down. Now you can safely cut that down. Now we have to secure that other yarn that was used. So let's just turn this inside out. So you're going to take this yarn that was just resting. We're going to rest this permanently into position through a tapestry needle. And again, don't go to the back of the work, just stay on this side. Back meaning don't go to the other side. Just stay in this side. We're looking at the inside of the hat now. Have it tie itself into a knot, and then just weave it carefully back and forth 3 times. got that one done. And we're coming back to the top of the hat here. Okay, so we got this strand here. We buried that tail end around the outside, so that one's missing. But this one is the one that we joined after we got ourselves started. And again, the same principle. You can see the yarn's being carried up on the inside. Just carry it within the same coloring. We did start with a slip knot, if you recall, so that does hold it in position. And you can weave that through. And now all your loose ends are secured in. So as you've been working on this, it looks almost like a cone shape, but once you put your head into it, it will round off, just like the sample does. And dog hair today is included in today's sample. So it even looks good even where you did the joins. It's just really minor the way that Sarah's designed this, and I think it's awesome. And once you start wearing this, the stitches will still can move around at the top and will just find its way home, and etc. This here is the Mommy and Me adult version.